everyone, I'm the Cold Weather Chef, and today we're going to make homemade bread, and we're going to give it a little twist. I'm going to make a loaf of regular white bread, and I'm also going to make a loaf of sausage bread. Sausage bread is one of those nice treats that you get throughout the year whenever somebody's grandmother decides to make it. It is a wonderful treat in that it's got carbs, it's got protein, it's got a little bit of fat from the sausage. Absolutely amazing. I've never actually made it from scratch, so it will be a learning experience for both of us. So let's start out making the white bread. I like this bread a little bit more than what you would buy in a supermarket because it's a little more weighty, it's got a little bit more substance to it, and it has a little more flavor. So making bread starts with yeast. I'll put the recipe on the video at the end. We're going to start out with some yeast, and you put yeast in warm water and sugar to activate it. This is 2 cups of tap water, and I'm just going to stick it in the microwave for maybe 30 seconds because we really want to get this water up to about 110 degrees. And 110 degrees is warm enough to activate the yeast, but not too warm where it would kill it. In the meantime, because I'm the cold weather chef and it is approximately 15 degrees out, I feel like I need a glass of Amaro to keep me warm while I'm cooking. So, cheers. Very good. Our microwave is almost done. So I will take this out, and I'm going to stir it a little bit because you don't want to have a hot spot in the water. Here's my nice instant read thermometer. When I put it in, oh, it's only at 84 degrees. So back in the microwave for another 15-20 seconds. There will be a lot going on today. We're going to take a lot of breaks because there's a lot of proofing in the bread. So when I'm making the sausage bread, I will need to fry up some sausage ahead of time, and we'll get into that a little later. All right, let's check our water temperature again. I can feel the bowl is a little bit warmer. We'll give it a little stir. Check the temperature. Oh, 98 degrees. It really takes a lot to heat up 2 cups of water in the microwave. So we're almost ready for that. In the meantime, when we're measuring the sugar, it's taking a half a cup of sugar, and we're taking out 2 teaspoons of that to activate the yeast. So later on we'll add the rest of this half a cup of sugar. I feel like this is going to be a winner now. $110 degrees on the dot. So I've got 110 degree water. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. And I'm going to add 2 packets of yeast, which is approximately 1.5 tablespoons. If it's a little more, it just gives you a little more rise, a little more flavor. I'm going to give it a little whisk to mix everything together. You can see when you put the yeast in, it clumps, so you really want to whisk this to get it all mixed in well with the sugar in the warm water. All right, so this is going to sit for about 5 minutes until it becomes frothy. So we're going to take a quick break to let this yeast become frothy and activate, and then we will start making the bread. Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Cold Weather Chef. We've spent about 5-6 minutes waiting for the yeast to rise, and you can see the foam that has been created by the sugar and the warm water and the yeast, and it looks perfect. We're ready to start making the bread. So I'm going to take this mixture of the yeast and pour it into my mixer. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. I'm going to add a little more sugar. And I've got the dough hook on. I'm going to lock this just so it doesn't start bumping. I'm going to turn it on low. I'm going to start adding some flour. Right now this is 5 cups of flour. Probably we'll need more than that, but we're going to start out with 5. And maybe I'll turn this up a notch. And the 2 cups of water with the 5 cups of flour, 5.5, whatever it ends up being, should give you a nice dough. Right. Looks good. Whoop, maybe a little too fast. It's always good when you're messy in the kitchen. It makes it that much more flavorful. So everything is mixing together now, and I can start to see the dough taking shape. And now that the flour is mostly mixed in, I am going to speed it up a little more. I mean, that's why we have a dough hook. So let me just turn it off quickly. I'm going to feel it. Oh, it's very wet. So I've got a little more flour. So I'm going to add a little bit more at a time. And I'm not going to measure because measuring never works well for me. So this dough hook will really beat the dough well and mix it up quickly. I still think you might need a little more. Alright, you can hear the mixer working now. Okay, let me just turn that off a bit. We'll give it a quick little feel. Yeah, that feels great. So it's dry enough where it's not leaving any residue on my hands. So that was enough. That was approximately 5.5 cups of flour. So what we're going to do now is we need to let the dough hook do its work and activate the gluten, which will allow it to rise and give it good flavor, good height. So this will beat on the dough hook for about 7 minutes, and while we're doing that, we'll take a little break, and when we come back, the dough will be ready for its next step. And we're back. You can see the KitchenAid has been mixing this dough for about 7-8 minutes, so we're going to turn it off now. Oh, let's take the lock off. And here is one big ball of dough. Again, it doesn't leave any residue on my hands, so it looks nice. We are going to take this ball of dough and we're going to put it in a bowl to let it rise. So I'm going to throw a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the bowl. And we're going to coat this bread with olive oil. Go and wipe our hands off because that's important, and we're going to cover this with some Glad wrap. My grandmothers would put this on the big radiator. If you don't have a radiator, you cover it with towels or maybe an Afghan. But it should double in size. It'll probably take 1 to 2 hours to rise. So put this in a warm but not hot place and let it rise for 1 to 2 hours, and we'll come back when this is ready for the next step. All right, while the bread is rising, this is a good time to cook the sausage. I bought some Italian sausage links and I took the casing off, so this is just the sausage. And we're gonna fry it up. So I just stick it in a pan. And this will cook, we'll just break it up. You want crumbly pieces of sausage. After a while it will cook, it'll break up nice and easily, and you'll drain the fat, and I'll show you that a little later. I don't really know how much of these 5 links I'm going to use. We'll play it by ear depending on how it rolls into the bread, which you'll see. But right now, this is just a step that we can get out of the way, so when we're ready to make the bread, we have all our ingredients ready. So this will cook probably in about 5 or 6 minutes, and we'll be back when we're ready to assemble the bread. Well, our bread has risen, and you can see it has at least doubled in size, so this looks fantastic. So we're going to take the saran wrap off and get that out of the pan. And we're going to gently knead it, I guess, a little bit, just for a little bit. Get the air bubbles out. Again, work the gluten. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Got a knife. I'm going to cut this in half because I'm going to make 2 loaves. Okay. Loaf number 1 is just going to be regular white bread. So I'm going to use Pam to put a little oil in the bread container. It looks nice. Put it in here. Mash it down a little bit. Make sure it goes in the corners of the pan. I think that looks pretty good. And of course we're not done. Now that this is in the bread pan, it needs to rise again. You can see it's about halfway up the pan. So this is going to rise for maybe about half an hour, and the bread will rise a little bit over the pan, and that's when it's going to be ready to bake. So I'm going to set this aside, and now we're going to make the sausage bread. So earlier I cooked up some sausage, and I drained some of the oil out by putting it on paper towels. So afterwards I cooled the sausage. You want to make sure you use room temperature or cool sausage in the bread so you don't accidentally cook it ahead of time. So here's my other loaf of bread. I'm going to get a little flour because there's some oil on this bread. And we're going to have to roll it out a little. Maybe let's move the knife out. All right, that's probably good. So what we're going to do is take our sausage and we're going to put it on the bread dough. And then we're going to start folding it up. Okay. And we're going to put a little more in and fold. and then put a little more in and fold until, oh, well, kind of have to play with it a little bit. We're going to use a little bit of water to seal it. Just pinch it and pinch it on the end. Okay, then we're going to take our second bread pan, put a little oil in it. I'm going to put the folded side upside down, and we're going to jam it in there as best we can. Okay, same thing. It's a little over halfway, but it needs to rise. So both of these loaves of bread are going to sit and rise for half hour, an hour or so. Again, in a warm place, covered with towels, Afghan, something like that. And when we come back, it will be ready to go in the oven. We're back, and our bread loaves have risen quite nicely, and you can see that it's well over the rim of the baking dish now. So I like the way it looks. This is the regular bread, and this is the sausage bread. So we're going to put them in a 350-degree oven. And they will go in here for 30 to 40 minutes or until the bread is about 190 degrees. So I'm going to set it on the low end at 30 minutes first and check it. And when we come back, hopefully it will be ready to take out and finish up. Welcome back. Our bread has been in the oven for 35 minutes. So I'm going to check it now. I've got my temperature probe. And you can see it has continued to rise in the oven. The temperature probe here says it's about 200 degrees. So the regular white bread is done. I'm going to take that out of the oven. You can see what a nice golden brown it is. And even on the bottom, you can see that's a nice golden brown. I fully expect the sausage one not to be ready yet. Let's check. And that's about 152 degrees. So it's not quite ready. We're going to let that go. But while that's cooking, we're going to take a stick of butter, salted butter, because this is what my Sicilian grandmother did. She took the bread fresh from the oven, and then she would just rub butter on the top of the bread. Why? I have no idea, other than rubbing butter on bread makes it taste better. So you can see it's really just melting. And this will make this bread taste so much better. And I think from there, we're going to put it on our cooling rack. So I'm just going to dump it out here on the cooling rack. See how easy it comes out. And there we go. That is your loaf of bread. We'll come back and look at the sausage bread a little later when we cut it, so you can see what it looks like on the inside. Stay tuned. All right, we're back, and we're at the tasting stage, which is obviously my favorite part. So here we have the white bread, and here we have the sausage bread. So I'm just going to cut a little bit off the white bread. And it looks lovely, great texture. Just going to try a bit. Much better than what you can get at your local supermarket. I am going to put a little butter on this and just eat it plain. Another thing you can do if you're not into butter is you can get a little dish with some 100% extra virgin olive oil from Italy. Put a little salt and pepper in that, and you have a nice little dip that you can put your bread in. That's also fantastic. All right, I'm going to eat this later. Now we're going to try the sausage bread. As I said earlier, I've never made it, so I'm just going to cut it and see how it looks. And it's pretty much exactly what I was hoping for. You've got sausage intermixed throughout the bread at various places. So if you want a little snack, you get the bread with sausage in there. It gives you a lot of good flavor. For people that like more sausage, you could put as much sausage in as you want. Remember to adjust the cooking time. I think when you have more sausage, it'll force the bread to cook for a little bit longer. But this looks great. I might have a piece of this a little later too. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy your bread cooking episodes.